What is going on? What is going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of RareFUD Radio. We are so excited to talk about the market today, everything that's been going on. We've been holding steady volume. You love to see it. What's been going on within the market as far as Cyber Samurai goes. And we had that crazy call last episode, said something was brewing. Sush is accompanying it. I cannot wait to talk about the Sush. We do have a special guest joining us today as well, EasyEatsBodega, the man, the myth, the legend himself. We're going to be talking everything Bodega Buddies, what he's doing with Solana Made Easy, his educational content, and of course, the Nifty portal. We have so much to talk about today, so much. So joining us, let's go ahead and bring on our co-host, Dor3ann. Dor3ann, how you doing today?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? As I always say, every day's a holiday, man. I'm super excited to be on here again for episode 12. Time's flying.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am excited. Let's go with Joe. Joe, how you doing, man?
Oh, we're doing well, man. Doing absolutely beautiful. Dor, look at that smile, man. Come on. How can you not be doing well when you see that smile in the morning?
That's right. That's right. And of course, joining us as our special guest today, we are trying to do a special guest every Thursday now, but we do have the man, the myth, the legend, EasyEatsBodega. How you doing, Easy?
Living, bro. I'm living. Thanks for having me. Hyped to be here. Love you guys. Love what you guys have been knocking out. So excited for the conversation.
Oh, dude, we got so much to talk about too. Yes, welcome. First things first, for the people who don't know, and if you don't know Easy, you've been living under a rock in Solana NFTs. But Easy, talk to us a little bit about what's been going on, how you got into NFTs and crypto, and what you're currently working on here in the market.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'll kind of keep it short. I got a long storyline with crypto. I was involved in 16, 17 with the whole ICO craze. Thought it was dope. Had been trading equities for almost 10 years now. Like the day I turned 18, was using a custodial account before that. So like finance in general has always been a crazy interest for me. And from there, I ended up getting into the whole ICO craze. Lost every dollar I had when it crashed the day after Christmas going into 18. So that was a ton of fun. I was one of those people, ended up like, dude, not leaving my bed for like 3 weeks. Like just terrible situation. Had to work again, call me crazy, like God forbid, right? But it was a great learning lesson. Ended up getting into Top Shot December 2020. I think I was like one of the first like 5,000 users. It was back when there was no queue system. You didn't have to wait. You could just kind of go on, wait, buy another one if you wanted to. It was a crazy time. And then that collapsed in February. And I was like, dude, I'm so done with this. Like, this is back-to-back times I've stepped in. Like, I'm all set. And got a text about Bored Apes right after they minted from a friend because he knew I still had some ETH. He was like, what do you think of these at 0.08? I was like, nah, I'm good. And I still have that text. I surface it in the Nifty every now and again. Just like, hey, here's a reminder. Like, you're not going to always be hitting everything. Then minted 30 Lazy Lions in August and ended up making a nice little profit on that, but realized how much I spent in gas to do so. And I was like, this doesn't feel sustainable consumer. So ended up stepping almost entirely or ended up stepping away from ETH and going into Sol almost entirely shortly after that. Minted Antisocial Robot Club as my first mint shortly in October. And then hit a couple Meerkats and flipped those for right around 40 Sol each. And then from there is history.
Love to hear it, dude.
Yeah,
That's
awesome
what a
story.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's background that, look, I was there for 2017, 2018. I got my first Bitcoin at $1,000. I got my first ETH at 100. Like,
I was a
I thought
guy. I was aping Litecoin, like sub $30, bro.
Oh, bro,
crazy.
Same, dude, same. I got so much Litecoin, dude. I was in on Cryptopia. I was going ham on Binance, Bittrex back in the day, dude. Like I was through it all. I thought it was the biggest giga brain ever until
you know, I was on the Tezos ICO. Like that was the crazy part.
That was, dude, Tezos was nuts. I remember everybody saying that was the big Ethereum killer, and then you had EOS too. Man, good times. I don't miss them at all. But you know, it felt like the biggest brain ever when you were in that time frame. And now, you know, the NFT market, it's a bit humbling going through those lessons and trading this stuff. So let's talk about what you're working on now though, dude. I mean, you run Solana Made Easy, which is one of the biggest spaces here in Solana. You're with the Nifty portal, who are doing great things for NFT and education and everything like that. And you're also working on a project. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the project's been in conversation for like 3 or 4 months now. And we just finally got to a point where we felt like it was comfortable to start kind of teasing some things out. We've had the ETH side of things, and they always called me crazy for so long doing Solana. PO gave me an opportunity to do like 2 videos a week on it. We were doing like Solana Saturdays and just kind of covering some of that. So they understood that there may be a market for it. And like, there's really some crazy videos I still go back and look at. Like I talked about DeGods at 8 Soul and was like, man, I love what Frank's doing. I talked about like Boryoku when they were mint, like all kinds of wild stuff back. Like Lash is nuts to think about. Yeah. And it was a ton of fun. Like I was trading ETH and Sol, heavily involved with the Nifty, who's like a media and content company around crypto and NFTs, like on like what's going on at that time. And they kind of just took a shot. I was making content with them for free just because it was fun while still doing my Web2 job. And then they took me on as a contractor right around, I want to say February of this year. And then full-time as of July. So ton of fun with that. We do have the ETH side of things. They've now kind of accepted like, okay, Solana's not going anywhere, clearly. So let's figure out how to kind of continue to leverage your brand and figure out a way to get people involved. It does like it clicked for a lot of people when STEPN, like the big trigger for most people to be like, oh, wow, you can onboard people without them realizing that there's crypto. It's cheaper, it's easier, it's faster. This makes a lot of sense. This is where mass adoption may actually come into play. And we had a ton of conversations right after that about like sustainability and where we think it's going to go. And then they were just like, let's build out this vertical if you're open to it. So spun up my own YouTube, spun up Twitter Spaces, kind of mimicking that, but a nighttime show. And just going from there, really trying to continue that growth. Got a bunch of plans for some stuff. Really, the focus is to continue onboarding and figuring out where stuff goes.
Absolutely. No, and that's good. Dor3ann, what do you have to say to Easy over here? Because I love your content, bro. It's always good. You've always been level-headed, but adding in a little bit of humor, what you need. Like you can't just give straight alpha all the time. Like you have to reserve at least 10% for some sort of personality traits in there, right? Yeah. So Dor3ann, what do you got to say to Easy?
Yo, well, first of all, I am nowhere near as OG as both of you. I didn't come into crypto till 2020, so I'm still relatively new. And like breaking into Solana NFTs, like shout out to Cyber Samurai. Of course, that's where I learned a lot of stuff. But shout out to you as well, Easy, man. Like I used to watch your videos back in the day on the Nifty, and it helped me out a lot just to learn your like trading style. I'm like, man, I want to be like Easy when I get proficient. But I learned that I'll never be as good as a trader as you because I'm emotional as hell. So I'm focused more on like mid to long-term plays by like trading, dude. You're like the best trader on the market, like Easy. Like no pun intended.
I appreciate that, man. It's certainly an interesting case here. Kind of just getting used to a lot of that too. I do think a lot of that comes from like my background with like options trading and high volatility stuff. Because like the emotions is the most difficult aspect of this, like keeping that out is where I'm really trying to maintain that. And it's a lot of people struggle with that. So like cutting losses frequently and kind of, and that's really where like my main focus is at almost all the time. But yeah, man, it's not an easy thing to do. And don't get me wrong, I still get emotional sometimes. I still make bad trades all the time. And I more so like look at them and laugh and like figure out ways that I can get better with some of that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a great approach, man. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't try to realize it's like, hey, what did I do wrong this time? And how can I improve? But I think that's a key thing that a lot of people should do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Joe, I love Joe because Joe was like, he reminds me so much of Easy in the sense of level-headed analysis, loves to be a part of a community, loves education. Joe, how much have you known of Easy going into this? Like, I'm curious as to your knowledge of Easy.
Oh yeah, I've known Easy for a while because I don't know if people realize, like I've been in the space for a long time, but I've had 3 Twitters rubbed, and each Twitter, was pretty substantial. And they've all been undocked. So like, yeah, I've watched Easy's progression and growth in this space be just a heartwarming person to hear in the morning on spaces. Like there's so much bullshit out there, man, to have someone that you can really know is just a good guy. And you know what I'm saying? And he's providing a net positive for the space is just so G. So yeah, man, I'm a big fan of Easy and to hear him speak actually now and actually watch him is super dope as well to really see him on a personal level. So yeah, man, big ups to you, brother.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, we got a lot of people in the comments saying Easy got me started on Sol and Easy's the GOAT. So really, seriously, like for the Sol ecosystem, before we move on, I appreciate what you do, Easy, and just onboarding, because I think that's such a huge thing, right? Is like the people who are going to onboard the next generation of NFT users. That's what we're trying to do here on RareFUD Radio, and just trying to provide level-headed analysis and thoughts on the market. With all of that said, let's get into it, because we are in an exciting time right now. 24-hour volume on Magic Eden currently sitting at 136,000 SOL. We've been holding 110 at least is like kind of our support right now, and we've just been ranging anywhere from like 110 to 150 depending on what the mint status is. We did have Ukiyo, which we can talk about in a little bit, but kind of just want your guys' thoughts on the market going forward. We do have like exchange art is popping off right now, obviously with the Boogle auction that just came out. It's encouraging to see one-of-one art still humming along, still making progress. I do think there's a lot of growth there. We're going to start with Joe. Joe, what are your thoughts on the market right now, specifically the NFT market?
Yeah, so
Uh-oh. We lose Joe?
Think so.
Oh, boy. Just so everybody knows, Joe will be coming in and out. He did have some technical issues going into the show, but we'll go with Dor3ann instead.
Yeah.
Dor3ann, where are you at in the NFT market right now?
Yeah, man, I'm still pretty bullish on it, dude. Like, as long as volume's holding over 100K, I'm fine before I start to flip bearish. I think people are starting to finally get in the mint mode. You're starting to see a lot of whitelist coordinators reach out to Discords and like start doing whitelist giveaways. And I think that's a good sign that, it's like things are about to pop off in that realm. So I'm still pretty bullish. I am still waiting until Utes does their reveal, because I think whenever that happens, I think people are still holding off for that. So liquidity will flow from people taking profits on their Utes and their tubes into other collections after that. So, but yeah, my sentiment is pretty bullish overall.
check.
Yeah.
You hear?
Oh, there's
You're
Joe.
good, Joe.
There's Joe. What you got, Joe?
I took the headphones off. I always try to get fancy, and I just got to stay to my roots here. But no, what Dor3ann said, I echo that for sure. Macro lens, doesn't look great still, just from equity standpoint, futures, SPX. So I want to be careful with risk on, but if you have your capital preservation on point, then you can have some fun in this market, right? 100,000 volume, we're sitting there. There's some solid projects coming to drop. Founders are really working and building. There's money to be made in this market right now, and especially if you put your head down and you have a strict entry and exit for your plays, I think you can be safe and make some money here. So, yeah, I'm excited. And like I said, I think September to November, I do think we'll see a rally. And I mean a macro lens rally before, Pico bottom maybe in December, January. So there's some time still to make money with Solana as well, right? I think that $40 to $50 range is a target. And, yeah, man, we'll compound some gains and hopefully unload there. And, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Easy. What do you think about this market right now? You having fun right now?
I'm literally trading as we speak. I'm like trying to ape things right now. Like the market's flying. We just had Renty mint in the Wade Friends and Family Pass mint. So, I mean, I love it right now. Like, I think people are also like more understanding at the moment for like, I don't want to say quality because there's still some garbage floating around,
Yeah.
but it's like people are looking more for like plays that they can actually feel a little bit more comfortable parking a little bit of capital in, maybe not a ton, but that's like kind of a big win for me. And so just getting into some of this stuff, man, it's like sustained volume, and we're up about 30K from yesterday too. Yesterday was 101. And I really focus on the volume. Like I'm one of those people that like keeps an extremely close eye on analytics, like new signers, new traders, buyers versus sellers, all that kind of stuff. I use analytics every single day. It's like the first thing I do when I get into the market. And that's kind of what lets me make action. So right now, seeing 100K sustained, this is the same amount of Solana traded back when we were in the bull in November. It was between 100 and 160. So like, I don't care about the SOL price. It's more the transaction numbers and the total volume of Solana traded. That's like a more bullish indication for me because that shows that liquidity is still flowing. Obviously, when SOL's 250, that's a much more larger monetary value. But a lot of the people who were trading back then are still active right now. So for me, I'm like, this is great. I'm totally for this. And seeing that even with Utes kind of going ghost at the moment, is such a good sign. Like my thesis back when we almost dipped sub 30K, I was like, oh my God, man. Like I'm selling everything and getting a job. Like I'm done. It's over. This was fun, but it's gone. And now that we finally, it's clear that like my thesis was there's still funds. They're just waiting. Like right now, they want to make sure that they're not just buying garbage. And we had that lull in June. A lot of people travel in the summer. So coming from equities, they say like sell in May. and you
Facts.
typically see an uptick in August, September. September can be a little bit bloody, but we actually had a very good September so far. So I'm right now short-term bullish. The merge, I expected to be a bearish catalyst, like a sell the news event, and we got that. So some of those things are playing into it. But overall, man, the market feels good. Like there's a lot of new people coming in, and seeing the ETH trend, this time buying into Utes and not leaving, was such a big win. I'm like, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well said, man.
No, I'm right there with you, dude. I also I couldn't fill my short last night before I went to bed, and I was also like, well, what if it is a bullish activity with ETH, and I'm just not having any foresight with it. I wish I did, but I don't like falling asleep with any sort of margin trade position open. Anything over 3x.
You don't like
especially.
waking up to emails saying that you got liquidated?
Bro, I did that in 2017, 2018. I remember going on a ski trip, and it ruined my entire ski trip. Like I got into Denver, and I was so upset because I was like this close to liquidation, and I was just like, please rally, please rally. I added lick. I did everything you shouldn't do when it comes to margin trading, and yeah, it's very easy to fall down that slope. So yeah, I just decided, look, it's probably going to short. I probably should have just done a 1x short, but I just don't like falling asleep with margin open. So yeah, that's kind of my thesis. I'm loving the fact that Sol ETH, that pair right now looks juicy.
Yo,
it's been looking juicy.
Over my shoulder, bro. Starting Sol ETH as we speak. I was just about to say that's crazy. All right, I mean that's just how you know we're on the same path here. But no, you're right. Sol's holding up actually very well in depending. I mean, in ETH pair as well as BTC pair as well. I mean, it's holding up pretty well. And ETH and BTC both lost our gold fib retracements, like our macros, over the night, and Sol's actually holding its. So I mean, momentum wise as well. I mean, and what do you got? Here's a question for you guys, Bison. You always have the spicy questions, but what do you guys think that's a testament to? Do you think our little echo chamber is making moves within? Because I mean, Solana, if you think about it, right? It's the NFT portion of the ecosystem is what it's for, really, right? Transaction speed, we're able to capitalize on everything. So, do you think our echo chamber really has a reason or a say within this for us holding a bullish sentiment over ETH and BTC at the moment? What do you guys think?
I honestly think that, look, DeFi runs this thing. Like we're in our echo chamber, but like DeFi is the reason Solana is like really humming along and we're holding stuff. The amount of volume we have is paled in comparison to the TVL that's locked up in most of these DeFi protocols. So I think it's strong. Look, we already retraced so much compared to what ETH and BTC did that it was kind of looking at like, hey, 90%. We lost 90% from 250, 260 down to what? It was in the 20s at one point. And that for me was always like, that's what we saw. Dude, I've been seeing so much comparison to 2017, 2018 Ethereum that we're seeing right now in Solana. So for me, it was like, I would rather DCA in there than try to play anything with Ethereum and Bitcoin. I already have my stash there. I'm not going to try to mess with it, but no, it's always looked, dude, this looked like we're just in our bottom range right now. I've been saying it for a while. I think we're still going to be here for another few months, but that's my 2 cents. I think we can go up to like 60 or so, but we're just going to keep ranging here for like another half year, and especially with the macro lens. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It always is. That's always the worst part.
But if NFTs are doing its thing, then we still have alpha to have here, right? Like even if Sol is 30-60, dude, my goal right now is just to stack Solana. That's always been it's stack and Sol. That's all I want to do right now.
That's all.
I'm just so bullish on Solana, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people call me crazy for it because like, oh, it's centralized. Of the centralized argument. I'm like, dude, you think a Web2 brand's gonna come into the space for completely decentralization? Like, dude, imagine if their like actual treasury wallet got drained and they couldn't do something about it. The benefit is you have SBF and FTX kind of huge swings into this. And that's not a bad thing. It's also like development cycles. A lot of people forget when you have private funds, development cycles increase at a much faster rate. So like those considerations just make me more bullish on this chain. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying like these like Sol may be around for 1,000 years. Like I'm bullish on a bunch of other centralized chains like Aptos, Sui, HBAR. All those things are smaller tokens that I'm looking at and I'm like, they're partnering with LG, Google, like Boeing, like huge brands that like these are where funds are going to go, and they feel more comfortable because they could potentially pick up the phone and call customer support, you know?
Absolutely. No, and it does look like I said. There's ETH comparisons. ETH started out centralized AF, dude. Like it. I mean, it. You got to start somewhere. It's just like these projects and these DAOs, quote unquote. We talked about this last stream, but DAOs are literally just Discord chats and stuff. We don't have the infrastructure to actually make like a solid DAO. I think Monkey DAO is probably the closest as far as NFT projects go, but dude, there's still so much infrastructure we need to set up before we even have DAOs or have that conversation. Like the world is not ready for Web 2.5, let alone Web 3, like true decentralization. So I think it is going to be a slow grind up, but we see the number of validators continue to go up. We see the ecosystem in general just continues to churn. And even when we're down 90% from our highs, like that is bullish. And I mean, we're just working on so much stuff that you can't help but be bullish on Solana in general. That, you know, just play it cautiously, but my ultimate goal right now is to stack Sol. Like I love NFTs, but it's stack and Sol right now.
Stack and Sol.
Yes.
No, I agree with you both. It's like I'm bullish on the Solana phone being announced. To me was one of the most bullish things. It's like that to me will push adoption quicker than a lot of these other chains. It's like if you want to get people using your platform, give them a phone and let them interact with dApps in a way that they don't know they're using it, and that's going to push adoption real quick.
Yeah. I think so. Just opening it up for developers is good. And, you know, eventually it will be like a background thing. Like I expect my grandma to be able to use Solana without her even knowing it's Solana. You know what I mean? Like that's the real bull case there. So I just don't see it with Ethereum or some of these other smart contract platforms. Sol just seems like it has the clearest path forward. But any closing points or arguments we want to make before we move into some of these other projects and notes that we have?
No, nothing for me, man. I could talk about this conversation forever.
Oh, I could too. I could too. But I know Easy is on a timeline, and we do have some other points to get into because everybody comes for NFTs right now. So with all that said, guys, look, we've been bullish on Cyber Samurai for forever. It's nice to see, bro. We've been saying too that we're curating a community that just has like some of the best people in it. And when you have the best people in it and they're telling the best people they know to join a community, it's starting to grow from a tight-knit small community to something that's a little bit bigger in size. We've seen them will run up from it. I'm not going to talk too much about it because you can check the charts, but we did run up about 35% over the day. We're at about 7 Sol right now. I do still think, look, Lotus Gang is my equivalent right here. Like if Lotus Gang did it right there, then with Lily and everything like that.
You were so early on Lotus Gang.
Yeah. It was nice, dude. It was man, I remember Shake called it out in the weekly FOMO, and I'm not sure if he's in right now, but he was saying like Lotus Gang 1.5 or something like that. You need to be buying this. And I didn't buy until 7. And I was like, why did I wait so long? I was like, I'm probably buying the Pico top and we're still running up. So I'm currently trying to sell it off because my thesis is with Lotus Gang, there is going to be a 10K collection with Lily. Lotus Gang gets 4,000 spots. I think I'm going to play the risk and like just take profits because again, we're trying to stack Sol right here. And I'm happy to be wrong on this. It could run up. I do trust Bungiel and the whole Lotus Gang team, but I think if it's a 10K collection and you only get 4K whitelist spots or whatever like that, I might as well just try to play secondary and take profits. It's about a 3x for me right now. So I have it listed and hopefully it sells and we can rotate those profits into something else that's going to continue its run. But yeah, kind of want to get your thoughts on that. We'll go with Easy first. Easy, what do you think about some of these OG projects starting to run up that were undervalued before? We see it with Cyber Samurai. We see it with Lotus Gang.
Yeah, man. So I talked about this the other day. Someone was asking like, what's going on with Sol? Like, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, the projects that have managed to stick around and actually kind of survive and show that like they're not going anywhere and still doing the right things are the ones that are going to get rewarded. And clearly we're now seeing that. So for me, it's like the market may be shifting and we may be getting a bunch of volatility, and these projects that have delivered anything at this point is the biggest value, you know? So like now that we're seeing Lotus Gang, we're seeing all kind, like there's a bunch of other projects too that I'm just like becoming more and more bullish on. Anybody's was one that I completely let slip under the radar, and they're 40 Sol floor, which is crazy.
Yeah.
They were 14 yesterday. So people are kind of like opening their eyes to some of this. DeGods at 8 Sol back in December was nuts. Galactic Geckos from 2 to 30. Like all these projects that have survived have, there's a lot more value in that. So like even if the struggling at times, just keep the head down and focus on the mission, and you're going to get rewarded. And we're seeing it. Like I chill the hell out of Cyber Samurai. I love Shake. I hold them. I'm never selling those. It's one of those things just because like I like to bet on people and people that are good people. And he checks every box. So for me, that's one of those plays that like I will support that project until the end of time at this rate. And I have no issue doing so because like I just have conviction in people and what they're trying to do and what they do for the space.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Well said,
it's a good bet. It's a good bet for sure. We also have a great bet over here, Dor3ann, undervalued right now. But Dor3ann, obviously you're involved with Cyber Samurai. Talk a little bit about what you can divulge with Cyber Samurai and what your thought process is with some of these OG projects.
Yeah, just to let full transparency, I am the community manager for Cyber Samurai, and I do own a significant portion of Cyber Samurai. I've been purchasing them for a while now. Back when they were below zero, they were 0.4 SOL. So I've just been accumulating like constantly. So to say the least, I'm extremely bullish on this project. And Shake had some personal stuff to deal with. And the first time I really like talked about Cyber Samurai on the show was on Tuesday because I just had my meeting with him Monday night about what we have going forward. And man, honestly, it has me extremely bullish, and everybody within the community kind of has a hint about what's coming. And that's why we saw a lot of things within our ecosystem pumping. We saw the primary collection pump like 30%. We saw Sush, which was an airdrop pump from, I think it did at least a 10x within a week. And then also the recent announcement today, which I think more projects should adopt, is the ability to give royalties to sub-trait DAOs. I don't think a lot of projects has done that, and I think it's pretty revolutionary that we're able to do it. Not only are we giving them royalties, we're giving the majority of the royalties. So holders of that trade have actual incentive to like help build this DAO out to make it something, and actually has liquidity to do it. Yeah. So there's a lot of things coming. I can't say a lot publicly, but I can say that everything we do in Cyber Samurai is seeking to provide value back to our holder. And as long as you have a Cyber Samurai, you'll never regret it. But besides like that, besides Cyber Samurai in the greater OG sense of things, it's like, it's Easy summed it up perfectly. It's like the market is rewarding those holders who stuck around this long, who wasn't doing a slow rug, who's actually been building. And guess what? It's like nobody expects these projects to be perfect. And people have bumps along the way. It's like something natural in a space that's constantly developing at the speed of light. But it's like those people are being rewarded. And we saw this with Lotus Gang. Anybody's came out of nowhere. Cyber Samurai is starting to get some love. And I think this will continue to trickle out from projects that have been existing. And like, as we've been talking about Bison, Bubble Goose, and I still think Catalina's there too. Betting on solid founders, as Easy said, and what I always repeat constantly throughout this show, is the best thing you can do in this space. And betting on the founders of Catalina Wells and Bubble Goose are two of the easiest bets in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
I completely agree.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people have such short sights that they don't see. Somebody, I've mentioned, 6 projects that I think are undervalued right now as far as my bags go, and I gave full disclosure on that. And somebody mentioned, they're like, yeah, Bubble Goose, that's a slow rug. And I was like, yeah, I can't believe they didn't release like 3 full episodes or 3 full seasons of a funny animated show in 3 months. How dare they? It's one of those that's like, dude, it's a medium-term hold for me. I'm going to accumulate. It's under mint right now, and I'm fine holding it. I do think Catalina is a great one, but I'm going to get into my thoughts on some of those like blue chip, mid chips in a little bit. I kind of want to hear from Joe because he recently entered the dojo. So Joe, I kind of want to hear from you. Like, what are your initial thoughts on the dojo, what we're building with Cyber Samurai? Because I think it's good to have like newcomer perspective on it.
So initially, so before I bought in, I just listened to Shake and I would hear him speak in spaces. I spoke to him in DMs multiple times personally, and I just liked him as a person and how he carries himself. And just morals and values and ethics align with me. So after that, I said, okay, cool. Who's the team? And then the team were like 2 of my biggest homies in the space. And I'm like, all right, what are they actually doing now in the ecosystem? So I bought one Cyber Sam just to plunge in and see what was going on. That it was the day of the new Path protocol, which is literally the most seamless, coolest experience I've ever had with passive staking. Doesn't leave your wallet, but it has you're immersed in this great ecosystem leaderboards, and you can see it's just the UI UX is so dope. And then you have the art, which is just, it stands alone, front facing, and it's just crisp and clean, and all the skins, even the commons look awesome. So like you just see all these things, and then you realize, oh man, they dropped Sush airdrop to them. They have these comic, they have legendaries, and it's just like it's a vast ecosystem that's well thought out that I don't think people even get to know because the holders don't care about really spilling the beans because they just want time to accumulate for themselves, which is hilarious, like which is really cool to see as well. So I mean, there's only like 170 some listed out of what 5K. So I mean,
Yeah.
There just shows you a lot of diamond hand fisting going on. Pause. But no, all jokes aside, all jokes aside, man, this is the community. I mean, the group Twitter is amazing. I mean, that's the coolest thing in the world. I would buy a Sam just to have that to rock in there. You know what I'm saying? It's just so the community's awesome, the art's awesome, and the utility, in my opinion, is amazing. So it checks my 3 boxes. The founders in what Shake is building, like the infrastructure by getting Dor3ann a community manager and then really taking time to hire the next 2 people out that are, vetted. I mean, it's just they're taking time, treating it like a real business as you should as a founder. So yeah, man, I couldn't be even more bullish on Cyber Sams, truly.
Yeah.
Yo, Bison, before you jump in, I appreciate an outsider perspective, Joe. It's like definitely means a lot to me as a community manager because it's like, regardless of where we're at, I'm always trying to improve, dog. But just for alpha for you guys, it's that Shake's talking to some pretty big names that are interested in Cyber Samurai and Solana right now. So that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, it's definitely something you want to hold on to.
Yeah. The names are something. So I'm very excited to see what's next for Cyber Sams. It's nice to have Shake back. For those who don't know, he was traveling literally across country. So he was out of pocket for a little bit. It's nice to see this pump was basically community driven. Shake is finally back in his seat and he's like, dude, if this is the pump, we're just gaining momentum at the right time because I'm about to take the helm again and we're just going to ride this thing out. So I'm done shilling Cyber Samurai. One thing Joe did forget, and I'm not sure if he explored it yet, but the Dojo DB alerts have been a godsend for me. It's one of those. Those are price alerts. If you go to dojodb.com, sign in with your wallet that has a SAM in it. You can actually customize price alerts. They are the fastest price alerts in the West. It's really hard to find price alerts. I didn't even know this, but it is so hard to find price alerts.
So how does it ping you?
So you can choose. You can choose.
You can get it on Slack, your phone, Discord, and Telegram. Yep.
And you get access with a Samurai. You just got to connect your wallet.
Yeah, you get lifetime access. Cool. They'll probably have a subscription model or something like that in the future.
Not for Sams though.
Not for Sams. Yeah, so Sams have lifetime. So it is awesome. I do love getting that daily Telegram message just to kind of show me my watch list before I even log into Hello Moon or anything like that. So that's the last thing I'll show with Sams. I do want to talk real quick before we go to our next point. We did talk about hiring. With Sams, we got 2 new people on there. People don't talk about Catalina, and we'll tie it back into the last spot. They just hired 4 people. I think most of them are women too, which is really good. I like seeing more women into NFT. It gives a perspective that, look, NFT users mostly are male. It is a real thing. If we really want to bridge that gap, we got to have some female perspective in how we can onboard, a wide variety of people. They have quietly been building. I have this feeling that Catalina is going to blow us away once they really, because dude, though you're talking to Carlo and Michael Ross are both big names and they're laying their name down on the line for what? That the money that they make from this is paled in comparison to what they could make as talent acquisition specialists. I mean, they found Martin Garrix and everything like that, and I got to go through their resume, but if they really wanted to, why would you rug and put your name, your doc's name on the line if you weren't building something special? And we already saw it with Bubble Goose. And unfortunately, it minted at literally the worst day ever. The worst day. You could not have picked a worse day to mint Bubble Goose at a 7 soul mint. God bless them. If they had released in April around that OK Bears time, they would have been praised. It would have been at 100 soul. But, that is, you just take it with the market. So I kind of want to hear from you guys. We've seen a lot of talent acquisition. Easy, when it comes to seeing names like that, why doesn't the market respond as well? Because I haven't seen enough people talk about people building actual teams.
Yeah, so I kind of like the question, to be honest. It's I think the space is still so young at the moment that when it's like a non-Web3 native and a little bit of reservation on it. It's like one of those things like, oh yeah, you can't come into the space because you haven't grown with us. You haven't been through the mud. Like you're just coming here to cash grab, all that fun stuff. And that's kind of where there is that negative connotation, which for me, I think it's almost the opposite. Like I really enjoy new people who want to give it a shot. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not very pro people stepping into the space and immediately launching a project. It's like, serve your time, trade, get into some communities, get active, learn a little bit, and then sure, let it fly and see what you can do here, you know, or even become a part of a project. Like I like people who come into the space and try to get onboarded into new things, which is what I think Bubble Goose and actually doing a great job of is like, you see some of these things. That's crazy. And like, who else is doing that? You know, Seth Green went on and was on the Bubble Goose space. Like that's really cool to me. Because these people have connections clearly. And I mean, I do, for transparency, have 5 Bubble Goose right now. I don't hold any whales. I just kind of threw them in a locker and forgot about them type thing. Because I'm just comfortable holding that. Because I know that like George and the team over on the whales, I did like they asked me to do like an AMA and kind of pepper them with questions on one of their spaces, their Whale Wednesdays. And I was like, I love the idea. I've never been asked to come up and try to fudge you guys publicly and kind of poke holes in what you're doing. And it was a really cool conversation. And when a project is open to that, and the space for you to come up and lead the conversation, I was like for once, I'm excited for that. I picked up the Bubble Gooses that day. Didn't want to throw the kind of the load at the whales, so I got a variety of more holding on the cheaper asset for similar ecosystem play. But it's for me, it's like that's where the bigger issue is there's that hesitation and reservation from people on the outside stepping in and almost overstepping, where there's for some reason some negativity on it, and I get it to an extent. But at the same time, I want more people in the space. I want the space to be as big as it possibly can. And we're gonna face the negativity of it. We're gonna face people who are cash grabbing and kind of driving some negatives. And it's how we pivot from that. How do we learn? And I think that's why there's still some pushback there, because it felt like they were stepping in right after the Bears mint, launching a 7 Soul collection, which is crazy price at the time. And that's where they caught some of that flack. But overall, I think as the space progresses, we're gonna see more positives kind of continue to be driven there.
Yeah. Well said. Very well said. Let's go over to you, Dor3ann, real quick. You know, like why don't we value teams as much? I actually love that. And I want to say this real quick, but you know, Carl Jones decided, like, he didn't launch it himself. And I think this is what's bullish to me, is he actually went to Wagme Beach and was like, and they sought him out too. And there was like, hey, you already have like the Web3 experience. You mentioned Catalina. They actually got Shake's help with some of the stuff too. And so like just seeing like people not afraid to ask for help, like, hey, how do I step into this space? For me, that's super bullish. Like you are willing to admit that, hey, I want to get into the space. I love the proposition, the ethos that this space brings, but I need somebody to help guide me so I do it right. Why aren't people valuing that much, Dor3ann? I want to hear from you.
So in my opinion, man, it's like, I'm honestly glad that people don't value founders as much, because they begin to value them when their announcements come out and they pump my bags. So it's completely fine and that's where my edge is. I find undervalued projects with solid founders, and I've become super profitable doing that. And I'm going to continue to do so. But this market is so focused on what's going to make them liquidity at this moment, is that it's not that they don't care, is that it's not making them money fast enough. We can use this as an example with DeGods. Frank announced 2 to 3 months in advance how much dust would require to mint a Ute or a Duppy at the time. Guess what happened? Dust ranged in that dollar range for about 2 months. Guess what I was doing? Accumulating. And guess what I knew everybody else was going to do last minute? Buy dust at the top. So it's just like, just simple things like that. It's like not fading the market in the sense like, hey, it's like you guys should just value teams a bit more and have a longer term set of thinking versus just trying to get immediate liquidity. Now, in terms of bullishness on the Catalina and Bubble Goose's team, is that, as you just mentioned, Bison, Shake was advised Catalina to help them launch. So Catalina went to somebody who was already well known in the space so they can have a successful launch. Boom. Not only that, the experience that Catalina has is top tier, and I would argue they are probably some of the best connected people that you're ever going to find on Sol. Do you really think that they're going to risk their reputation to launch a project that's not going to be successful? They believe in the future of Solana, and they want to build an IP company before everybody else does. Because guess what? When this thing does go mainstream, where are other media companies going to look? They're going to look to them. So they're like forgoing short-term gain for God knows what potential profit in the future. Their first collection launch was Bubble Goose. Catalina has been very vocal about wanting to create an animated series. Oh man, the first project that launched is someone who has so much experience creating animated shows. It's just like, I'm not a rocket scientist, but man, it's like, come on, dude. It's like all this is clearly laid out. It just needs a little bit of time. It's like the experiences that Catalina and Bubble Goose will be able to provide holders would be even able to rival Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like, no shot, dude. No shot. Sorry for the rant.
You're good, bro. I love the passion. Joe, I know that at one point, I remember seeing a tweet. You were on the edge with Catalina. I don't think you ever bought or not. I'm curious to see, like, from an outsider perspective, because I know Easy doesn't own one. I know Dor3ann doesn't own one. I do own one, and I bought, like, I didn't buy the absolute Pico top, but man, I wish I had sold right before Bubble Goose dropped, and I should have seen what happened with Sol, and that's okay. Learning point. But Joe, I want to hear from you. Kind of what made you, did you ever buy, and what made you hold back?
So yeah, I actually did. I bought a whale, and I was actually grandfathered in for the period where you could try. It was like first come, first serve, and I ended up minting a Bubble Goose. My friend had a note at the time, so I was able to finagle some things around and get a Bubble Goose. I did sell the whale at about a 15 Sol loss because I bought it at the Pico top and I sold it because I saw the trajectory. I was like, all right, I can already tell just off of sentiment. Now, I don't care how hard the team worked, just the immature investors paradigm that we deal with in this space. You got to be wary of that, and you have to keep mental stop losses for your projects as well, right? And to me, right, like if that's your money, your capital, like that's your capital, you're not adding anything more to the space. Sometimes it sucks, but you got to compound that loss into a better win, and that's what I did at the time. And I'm actually looking for a re-entry into Bubble Goose, not whales per se. But I think Bubble Goose is more of my entry point, right? It's a little bit less risk for me to the reward ratio. But yeah, I mean, I'm bullish on the team. I know Sir, who's the founder? Sir,
It's Michael Ross George.
Yeah, George.
I think that's it's Mr. Three first names is what he calls himself. So yeah, he does have three first names.
So yeah, I mean, he obviously has insane connections, like you guys said. It's Seth on there. Like, I mean, that alone you can't fade. If you're going to invest money into the market where you're not going to touch it and not think about it, you got to go these routes, right? And this is another solid team to look at, like Taiyo and these other plays where you can really just put it in a locker, like Easy said, you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that. No, so this kind of brings me to my next point, and it leads well into the one after that as well. I'm kind of changing my thesis. I know some of you guys bought blue chips. So like Joe just recently bought some Taiyo, Dor3ann. We got Utes. So I mean, that's one thing. Easy, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. Part of me is changing my investment thesis to not buy blue chips right now.
Yeah.
The reason being is, one, I do like multiples. That's why I'm in NFTs, is because I see multiples with some of these smaller projects. But two, part of me is thinking, like, what if Sol rips tomorrow? What if Sol goes straight to $100 or $200? And then, like, do we see those blue chips holding their value? Do we see some of these lower projects holding their value? Or obviously you want to be sidelined and sold. Like, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on buying blue chips right now. We'll go with Easy first.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I did buy an OK Bear 2 weeks ago, and I sold it for a loss. I should have sold it on the pump to 80. I hated the welcome packs that they delivered. And that's one of those things from like a blue chip standpoint. It's still early for them to be considered that, but price action wise, they fit that narrative, that kind of range.
Yeah.
So I think I could do more with that liquidity in the current market than parking it there. So I do have like some long-term holds that at this point I've gotten their cost basis down to almost zero, if not zero for most of them. And that's why I'm comfortable putting them there. Because like if there's ever a massive liquidity crunch, I could liquidate and still be totally fine. But the idea aside from that is like staying liquid with Sol right now is my bigger goal, because I think I can do more damage in the market with it.
Yep.
And just that's kind of like purely what it is at the moment. I think longer term, there's still so much potential upside a lot of these projects, but I think you're gonna have a lot more opportunity to enter maybe at a lower Solana range, but similar USDC range, which I think a lot of people overlook. Like I get one Sol equals one Sol, but at the end of the day, I still value increasing that Solana exposure and figuring out where I can extend that. Like if that USD value is the same, my goal is to have more Sol tomorrow than I had today. and that lets me get in at a better entry on those assets.
Well said. No, I'm kind of in the same boat with that. Let's go with Joe next, because Joe, I'm in the camp where like I've never had so much FOMO into a blue chip. Oh, Joe's joining us on video.
Yo, let's go.
Joe? So Joe, I kind of want your opinion on this, because I've never felt more FOMO for a blue chip right now than Taiyo. For some reason, there's just something screaming to me that like Taiyo is going to absolutely rip. And it is a visceral feeling that I'm like, dude, I really don't want blue chips. And then like the counterpoint to me, the devil on my shoulder is like, we haven't even hit the ETH multiples yet, right? And I'm just like, well, do we hit the ETH multiples, or do we rip up first and then we hit the ETH multiples because we have $250 Solana, $1,000 Solana, right? Like, is that when we hit the ETH multiples? So, Joe, I kind of want to hear your opinion on Taiyo, why you decided to buy now, and what your plan is with it.
For sure. So yeah, I mean, what you guys said, I would echo hardcore. My position's a little bit different. I've made a lot of Solana in this space. I have a lot of it staked. A lot of it comes undone in epochs, and then I kind of go like, do I want to stash this? Do I want to restake? So my entry into Taiyo is for two reasons. I had a bunch of Sol sitting around, and I was just going to restake it for the 6 to 7%, but I decided, you know what? Let me use this as an investment, and I treat these teams like market caps, just like I trade BTC, ETH, Sol. And I look at, you can compound a smaller gain in Taiyo still for sure, and it might be safer, right? The market cap, it's like going with ETH instead of, a smaller market cap altcoin. So that's my theory right now, is that I have Solana. I'm not going to put it into USDC, and I'd either restake it or try to compound it. And even if I compound it 40%, in the next year, I'm happy, because I'm getting graphite, I'm getting IDOs, I'm getting all these different things that are coming around with the ecosystem itself. So to me, the risk to reward is there, because this Sol, even if they drop a little bit, to me isn't the end of the world. I'm looking for that startup, right? Silicon Valley, early in, and this might be it, and it might not, but that that's how I'm separating my eggs at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Dor3ann, I know you are a Taiyo holder. I kind of want to hear your plan now that you have been a longer term Taiyo holder. What your goal is with it, what you're trying to accomplish.
I'm going to hold, honestly, until we see how graphite does. I'm bullish on Tom. He's been one of the tech leaders in this space. Like back a while ago, he's one of the people that developed the first staking platform. That doesn't sound too impressive these days, but back in the day, yeah, that's pretty intense. Even now, and he's like he had the unbottable marketplace. We know that had a little bit of issues yesterday, but at the same time, his ability to develop tech that can help scale the ecosystem should not be underestimated. And when the bull market comes around and Taiyo holders are getting top tier whitelists of these projects that can easily pay off a Taiyo during a bull cycle, Jesus, how much money do people make just minting and flipping projects if they have whitelists? They make a ton. So that on top of graphite, on top of additional future airdrops, dude, it's like just holding a Taiyo will pay you back in itself. So I'm bullish on Taiyo because of that. So me picking up this blue chip at its current value, it's still undervalued if graphite succeeds. So that's why I pick up this blue chip over other projects, because the multiples are still there, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. I can get on board with that.
So Dor3ann, what is your Taiyo exposure? I'm curious. I hold 2 infants. I've been holding them forever. Just like that's one of the ones I tucked away a long time ago.
That's a sleeper, because what they're coming out for with infants, especially with this graphite and RevShare. RevShare is going to be added as well to infants. And dude, 3 to 1. They're saying 3 to 1, but I think it's going to be more like 2 to 1. Just because of the entry point for people. They're going to go, and when they go, they're going to go. And I do think infants are one of the biggest sleepers. Like if you have 50, 60 Sol, like that's a chunk, man. A lot of people don't have that, but if you do have that and want to, that's delayed gratification, right? There's not much to it. You just hold.
My favorite trade is that, bro. The secondary collections or associated collections. Like when anybody's ran, I aped the Take Keith drop at like 4 or 5 Sol, because I was like, there's lagging trades that are associated, and that's like probably my best trading strategy is I look for those. Scrap is a great opportunity. Like I wish DeGods had a secondary collection, because that would have been the one I sprinted to when I saw them taking off.
So smart. That's such a. I mean, That's slept on right there. That point you just made, man. And that's an easy, it's easy almost. It's like it's given to you in a way, but it's hard to take it because the delayed gratification aspect, you're not getting anything right up front with them most of the time. You got to wait, but you know they'll be there if the team's solid. So man, great point, Easy.
Okay.
Yeah, Easy, having two infants is solid, dude. Like Joe was saying, it's like they're saying it's a 3-to-1 ratio of graphite distribution, but it's probably going to be more than 2-to-1. So having 2 Taiyo infants is about as equivalent as holding the Gen 1 at this point. And not to shield for myself, for anybody who out there who's curious about the Taiyo ecosystem, I made a whole 30-minute YouTube video that explains every aspect of it, that it talks about entry points depending on your size of liquidity. So it's like it'll run down everything you need to know.
Yeah, and it's a good video too. I mean, he was the reason that I ended up buying Scrap, because we actually had a talk on like, is Scrap moving 1-to-1 to graphite? And if so, like, is it just going to be a worthless token? I just want to know right now. Even a catalyst for it was like, dude, if dust is running up because of duppies, therefore Scrap's going to run because of pilots, because it is minting and Scrap. So that was like, dude, it was another one of those trades, Dor3ann, that we just like simultaneously looked at each other like, this is not this easy, right? This is not this easy. And it was. So yeah, I'm out. I'm actually looking to re-enter Scrap at some point, because I do think we're just testing waters right now. Somebody was asking if this what is a good entry for Scrap. Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice on this video. We have to disclaim that. Right now, around this $1 mark is like, look, it looks like bullish action to me. This is gonna be where I start buying in, but we always say DCA here. Like, if you're second guessing, especially on something that has gone up already, like, dude, you don't have to throw in 100% of the bag that you were gonna throw in on it right now. Like, just save some for the side. And you know, if it goes down, you can dollar cost average. If it goes up, great. Use that liquidity somewhere else. Like, it doesn't matter. You have exposure. So yeah, I was asking you guys, please stop sharing alpha. I haven't bought an infant yet, because if I am going into the Taiyo ecosystem, it's going to be through, God, I don't want to say it's going to be through infants. That sounds so wrong. Yeah, but it's going to be through incubators. It's going to be through Gen 2. Yeah, so
that's the proper way to word that.
Yeah, so it's going to be through Gen 2. So we are, dude, oh my goodness, we're getting the bots on YouTube. So moving forward, we need to talk about Taiyo's launchpad, because I actually look for the little hiccup it had a little front end attack, and dude, they nailed it with the the PR. They came out and literally said like, hey, we understand there's some hiccups. This is what we're going to do to adjust it. They came out with a solution so quick. Like, Tom was like, hey, we're going to come out with mini games, which I think is kind of fun, in order to unlock the mint, and that'll prevent the front end attack happening. So just having something and kind of being 2 steps ahead of the market, or at least reacting so quick, is, I mean, that's the reason I'm like, dude, I want to Taiyo. I've never had so much FOMO until I saw that. And then on top of that, they now have a rev share where they're coming out like, hey, we have a sustainable model. We're looking to make 500K this month, and we're going to distribute like 1,000 to 1,500 SOL a month. And it's going to be a per month period, most likely. Like, dude, what a business plan. Like, it's coming to me, and I'm like, dude, why do I have so much FOMO right now? I never get FOMO these days, but I want to Taiyo.
It's not the shiny play either. And we know in our event, there's going to be time still, because it's just not the shiny play. And until it is, and until it's that FOMO reaction point, I mean, but I think you're good, boys. I think you'll be all right for an entry. I think you don't need to rush yourself. I think that range will be there for you for sure. And guess what? A lot of people OTC them cheap too, bro. You can find them all the time. People, you know, birth them for free, and they sit on them and they use them as liquidity. So just let me know, and yeah, we can make it happen.
So I kind of want your thoughts on let's start with Easy first. On how did you happen to get a mint or anything for Yukayo, I think is what it's called?
Yes.
No. So I submitted my whitelist late. So that was done on my part. Submitted my whitelist late. Yeah. Ended up buying 15 of them pre-reveal for, I think it was like 5 average. I'd have to check. Sold all of them yesterday and today, 7 to 8 range. So on that nice little run up, we found bodies in like a top 300 rank 1. And a 3 trait one, which was like an 11 floor. So got out of all those, made a nice little flip on them. I'm still bullish on them. Like, I know Cozy's doing the marketing for them, and I don't fade Cozy. That man is on it. He's given me some fire alpha with a bunch of. So knowing he was associated, I was like, perfect. Let's start too. So yeah, I made a nice little trade on those.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure. Dor3ann, did you happen to mint?
Yeah.
Joe, we'll go after you.
Yeah, so with Ukaigo or whatnot, fun fact, any project Taiyo launches from their launchpad, holders of infants and Gen 1s are able to buy whitelist spots in scrap. So it goes to another incentive to have a Taiyo or infant. So, but no, honestly, I don't really chase mints or participate in mints too much. It's way too busy for me. It's like you need to really like Easy. I know this is your bread and butter, man, and you kill it. But I'm like on the complete opposite of the spectrum. I usually wind up people's exit liquidity on mints. So I don't really mess around with mints too much. It's like I like to scope out the project when everybody's not talking about it and then pick it up at that point.
Yeah. Joe, I kind of did you happen to mint or anything like that? And how was your experience if you did?
Yeah, I grabbed the I was in the alpha just popping in Taiyo. And I luckily had the whitelist link drop when I was in there. I grabbed one for 20 scrap or 22 scrap, something like that. And I sold at like 7 sold instantly. I auto listed. And I actually just got like I didn't even realize I had whitelist, and Tom posted the link for renting, and I was able to mint one, but the TPS was shit, and I probably could have got more. But yeah, man, I mean, I think it's going to be one step at a time for Taiyo. This launch pad, people are going to, they're getting the biggest name guys coming in the space, and they're looking at Taiyo's launch pad, and so forth. Just as the marketplace is on the secondary, I think people are forgetting about that as well. But yeah, man, I'm super bullish on holding Taiyo just for the incentives of the mints, like Dor said. I think that people sleep on that. Like Blocksmith and Taiyo, when the bull comes back, is going to be huge.
Dog.
Yeah, I can get behind it. No, it is. Look, if Bull Run's coming back, those NFT projects that have launch pads or rev share or a token that is tied into the launch pad somehow with Forge and Scrap, aka Dust or Graphite eventually, then I think there is definitely a bull case for it, and I think there's going to be multiples to it. So no, I am curious to see. It looks like minting went pretty well for everybody. Manny's sliding into my DMs with some Soulport Tom Alpha, of course. Man doesn't stop shilling Taiyo, but yeah, he does. He sent me over a message from Tom. Haven't done the math yet, but a mint every day since Friday generated 100,000 for the company and 50,000 for the affiliates in a week. So for me, that is just another one of those things where, look, you're building a sustainable business model, or at least somewhat sustainable. You do have to depend on like what the market is doing, right? So I don't want to call it fully sustainable, because if the market's back to 30K volume, then like we don't have that bullishness anymore. So
but Taiyo's not fully dependent, and that's the thing that's coming in with Graphite. They're not fully dependent on being a launch pad. They're offering SaaS services where people can utilize their tools that they create, which will make them sustainable. So I just want to put that out there. Yeah,
that's a good call, Dor. I mainly was talking about the launch pad aspect, but yes, you are absolutely right there. Look, Tom's just a smart MFer, dude. You want exposure to it somehow. If you can't afford a Taiyo, I know a lot of people like 40 sold. Actually, I think it's like 48 right now sold for a Gen 2. Maybe too steep for you. Maybe not enough liquidity on hand in order to grab it. Scrap is probably the best play right now. If you can afford some oil, maybe that's a good play too. But I think after he said that this is his last collection, I mean, he's going to be airdropping some stuff, I'm sure. So just, I think Scrap is the safest play. It's more liquid and everything like that, but just play accordingly. So we talked about the rev share. I think it's crazy. They already rejected, like as a DAO, basically they put it up for a vote and rejected like a payout to reinvest into the platform. I'm bullish on a community that does that and says like, yo, a 2 soul payout isn't that much. Like I'd rather just reinvest it back into the ecosystem and get more marketing and stuff out to compound those gains. So
is also incentivizing, right, people using creator fee marketplaces. Like if you go and buy Gen 1 from ME, you'll get two pilot whitelists, and if you buy 3 infants, you get 2. So like they're incentivizing it as well. So they like actually show that they care a bit, which is cool as well. So it's little nuances like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, so we got 2 more topics before we get into kind of our alpha corner. I know Easy has about like 30 minutes. I'm trying to get them out in 15 minutes tops. So let's talk about GMers real quick. GMers is the quote unquote the biggest DAO that has been formed yet. It's a 50,000 collection. So part of me loves seeing this from the sidelines, just kind of staying back and like, look, 50,000 is a large collection. We haven't seen Utes was big at 15K. This over tripled it. So I was curious to see it from the sidelines. I know we had a lot of alpha on it and the dojo and everything in between. J Shep has been killing it with these degen mints, but yeah, it's one of those things where I wrote a thread on it. Like I always look at unique holder coefficient. I don't know if you guys look at that as well on the analytics side, but I like to see unique holders divided by collection size, right? If it's over 0.3, that's pretty good. I usually proceed with it. Over 0.5, that is a strong community. We've shaken out a lot of whales and stuff like that. So for me, that I don't know if you guys, I want your thought process on it, how you thought about GMers. I basically said 0.6 is like, dude, what a run up. If you got profit, great. But I would wait until that unique holder count goes up before I would want to enter into it, because I do think it's a fun, cool project. I've said fun is the new meta. Let's kick it over to Dor3ann first. Dor3ann, what do you think about the unique holder coefficient? And do you have any thoughts on GMers?
Man, I think GMers just fitting within the meta right now, man. I think it was a good play. It's like we saw ABC rock off this free mint meta and allow people to just go at it and making sure that the community is decentralized and do it at once. We saw so many derivatives of that. Not saying GMers is a derivative of ABC, but it does fit within the same theme. So I just think that's part of the play now. And this is one of the things I'm just watching on the sidelines. As I stated earlier, I don't really dabble in stuff like this, but if it is around in the next 2 to 3 months, then I might pick one up.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I mean, I know it's low cost and stuff, but still nobody likes to see like a 50% drawdown on whatever they invest, even if it is 0.6. It's one of those that you learn how to manage emotions and stuff like that. Joe, let's kick it over to you. Do you have any thoughts on GMers and what they're trying to do over there?
No, I did not trade them. I knew a couple DAOs I was in that were scooping them. I did not. No, I have no idea. I didn't realize that we had a 50-some thousand collection. You said I did not know that either. That's wild. I mean, hey, I'm all for liquidity in the market. So yeah, man, if it's got people excited and they're trading back and forth, I'm all for it.
Right. Easy. I know you talked about it a little bit. I saw some tweets about GMers. What's your thought process on this? 50K collection's a big collection, but I do like seeing a little bit larger collection. It's a little bit more accessible. What's your thoughts?
It's kind of fun for sure. People were all messaging me when I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. Like 50K supply is crazy. Like not about to be your exit liquidity type thing. And a lot of people were like, yeah, sounds like you sold the bottom. I was like, dude, I didn't even mint them. I wasn't buying them at 0.1. I'm not about to ape these at 0.5. Like this sounds crazy.
Right. Yeah,
you know?
no, it is.
So I just think it's tough to maintain. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes, to be honest. Like right now for me, there's a lot of plays every day. Like that's the thing. Yeah. So like if I miss something like that, where sure you could have minted 100 of them and sold them at 0.5, a nice little 50 sold day or whatever. There's a lot of other options. Like I know I talked about that Wade and Friends thing, and it looks like I sold it too early. Got out of mine like sub 10. They're now 15. So like there's tons of price action. That's crazy. So something like GMers, that's a massive supply. I'm not crazy bullish on like massive supplies at the moment because liquidity is still circling to an extent, figuring itself out. Plays seem isolated, funds cycle when like new mints happen. So with a 50K supply, all it's going to take is no new announcements and we could see 10,000 listings, you know?
Yep.
Like yesterday, I think it peaked at like 6,500 listings. And even right now there's 7,420 listed. So like getting any type of volatile price action on that becomes significantly more difficult. But I like the idea of the sub DAOs because now it's like if it's open IP, have fun, go crazy, do what you want to do. But we just haven't seen that success yet anywhere. So once we do, sure, let it fly. But until then, I'm a little bit more hesitant.
Yeah, I would agree with that. No, like I said, I do want to see more ownership distribution before I would even. And it's one of those things where I don't have enough data, right? Like I don't have enough data on 50K collections where I can make an informed decision. Like if I don't have an edge, I'm not taking that trade. So, that's just my 2 cents on it. Let's move into our final couple of topics here. We do have the last Boogle that was auctioned, went for 2,500. It's kind of an end of an era. I mean, of course they're going to continue, but Like, it was fun watching those just completely explode. I remember the first time I went on Exchange Art and saw Boogle and said, why is this valued so much? Because I was so new to the space. It's fun to watch, you know, and it looks like it went to Sam.Sold. They went into a big bidding war between Pimp Capital, who bought turned up Dylan, his Dylan DeGod for the second biggest SOL purchase we've seen. Kind of want your guys' thoughts on what this means. Like, what happens from here for the one-on-one space? Because obviously we've been big on the one-of-one space here in RareFUD Radio. Easy, what's your thoughts on Boogles right now?
Dude, it's crazy. Like, it's absolutely insane watching what Boogles have done, the ecosystem and the group that they've kind of created. I got a bunch of friends over there. Shout out like Rambo, Doopy, and Code Monkey. I talk to them literally every day. And I always tell them, like, dude, I'm never buying one of these. Like, there's a 0% chance I ever deploy 50 grand into a JPEG. It's just like not my thing. And I just love it though that they've really curated this like insane community. There right now, we just saw that trade that just happened, and that they were going like partial buys into it and putting some allocation of funds, and that it's just nuts. Like, I think the one-of-one scene's awesome. I think 2 days ago, maybe even yesterday, I spent like 2,000 USD on just one-of-one stuff on Exchange Art, just going through, just buying stuff. Like, I'm a huge fan of OX Flat. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar.
Yeah, I know Flat.
Yeah, so I hold 6 of their pieces right
what?
now. Yeah, so I've just been
He's
buying all the
whale.
open editions. Yeah, I love them, man. I'm like, they're my backgrounds on like both my monitors right now. The Hoops one is like one of my favorite ever, just like playing basketball in college and stuff. And then I have the Bus Stop one on my other one. And I just love that stuff. I'm holding Nate Geo's Being piece that I bought a while back. Love Nate. Like, just an absolute genuine human being, man. And for me, that's where it becomes tougher to fade. I'm like, you're just awesome, like as a person. And getting a DM from a one-of-one artist, you relate to it. You're like, oh, dude, this person's great. Like, I can never sell this now, you know? And I don't, like, you'll eventually see them behind me on the wall here. I'm going to get some of those thrown up just because, like, dude, they're fun. They're great. You're really supporting a true individual. And they never have to do anything else. Like, that's the best part. Like, I don't care if you literally vanish. I love what you've created. I'm happy to own it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Dor3ann, you have progressed in the one-on-one space. I'm happy to see your adventure.
You
finally have a Protean piece, which obviously Dojo holds about half of them, I think. He's released 6. So yeah, we got guitar in there as well. But you know, what do you think this means? Like, after Boogle's auction, do you guys ever think they're going to create Gen 2 Boogles or anything like that? I mean, like, what do we think here? Easy has some thoughts over here.
It's tough to say because, like, then you're just diluting this like Illuminati-esque ecosystem, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the tougher part. Like, what is the value if you continue to expand this versus keep this a very niche group of 100 individuals that are hyper curated? It gives me like Proof Collective past stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And some people get a little iffy on it. They're like, oh, yeah, that group's just doing whatever they want to do and manipulating prices. It's like, dude, no. Like, they're just a group of high wealth individuals who have curated this crazy ecosystem. And you're going to see it everywhere. Like, it's like Soho House, but Web3. You know? Like, before Soho House went public. So there's all those kinds of things I think about. And, like, every ecosystem is going to have them. I don't think they do a Gen 2, personally. And if they do, I think they maybe do a completely separate entity and start to launch something else.
For sure.
Yeah.
Joe, Dor3ann, feel free to kind of share any one-on-one thoughts as far as this Boogle auction concludes. What do you guys think?
Man, it's crazy. It's just like, I enjoyed watching the auction go on. I mean, clearly I'm priced out, not even remotely close to participating in that, but it was still fun. But just because of you, Bison, it's like you really put me on the one-on-one scene, man. I wouldn't have known about great artists like Protean. I'm glad I was able to pick up one of his pieces. I've been picking up, I was fortunate to pick up a piece called Fellas, done by this dude named Basket. Awesome artist, OG in the Solana space. And like, one thing I like about his collection, each piece has his own character name. So I picked up Christopher, and it's so weird, but I love it. So, and it's just like you said as well, Easy. It's just like, if these pieces go, like if the artist bounces, it's like, I'm fine with Christopher and like the pieces I got. It's like, I'm chilling. It's like, I wasn't expecting to make like, a profit. Like, if I do, don't get me wrong, I'm happy, but I'm like not expecting like sell anytime soon. But it's great interacting with these artists on a one-on-one basis, getting DMs from them and just talking to them and getting to know them personally. So yeah, man.
For sure. Joe, have you dabbled yet really like at all in the one-on-one space? I can't remember. I know we did editions with DJ Poet and we cooked on those, but just curious to see.
Yeah, I have just the only Degen Poet. I have a Squirtle still, and I have a Pikachu. The Squirtle speaks to me. I'm one of one. I think I'm going to get bigger on once I get these frames in and I sit on them and look at them, and I know, all right, I can fill this with a certain, and then really treat it like art, like a web.
Yeah.
That's when I think I'll get into it. And I think I'm missing a lot of entries right now into beautiful pieces that are going to be worth tens of thousands of dollars because I am sleeping on it at the moment. But I do have frames on the way, and I'm going to mint a bunch of D frames. So I'll have a reason to start looking for some really cool art. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I mean, it's so cool for artists. So I have so many artist friends in real life, and for them to be able to have an ability to create art in another facet, in another medium, and still get royalties and be able to basically make a living for themselves in a whole nother facet that they would never have the ability to in the first place is super dope to me. I just love people winning, and I love that energy that provides. It's just like liquid throughout the space, man. So yeah, the more people that can make money and have fun and be financially free, I'm in for it. So yeah, one of one is that.
Yeah, no, it's been a fun space to explore, especially, I mean, the bear market was like down bad, degenerative, like awful times, and I was having a blast over in 101 land. So definitely, it is nice. I will eventually come out with a 101 guide as far as like what I look for as a collector and stuff like that. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But mainly, let's talk about alpha. Let's wrap it up because again, value Easy's time and really do appreciate him jumping on here. But Easy, kind of want to jump over to you. What are you looking at right now? What's your thought process as far as like investment thesis or trading alpha or anything like that?
Yeah, good question. So, I mean, right now it's like just trying to figure out what's moving in the market and kind of play those trends. I've mentioned that Wade FNF thing today. We saw anybody's take off, and I even had a tweet today like, this is starting to make more sense. People want real life stuff. I know we're so heavy Web3 focused, and people FUD merch. Dude, shout out to Cyber Samurai merch, by the way. I wear that hat all the time. It's so well made, bro. Everything that's been made there, I'm like, this stuff is
Can you
good.
still get it?
Yeah,
Is it available to buy still or no?
Yeah, man. I'll send you the link whenever we get off stream.
Ooh, easy.
And you can buy and sell if you want.
Bro.
Yeah, it's fire, bro. And then Liberty Square just launched Mercantile, so we're gonna be using that with the Bodega Buddy stuff. Hopefully, right when Mint goes live. Yeah, so that's the plan. So I mean, I love Secret, I love Liberty. Huge fan of what they're building, and I just think there's this bigger opportunity and ways to go about it. And I like I said, aped the Take Heath project because like the idea of it was cool to me. And like this burn to redeem thing creates deflationary mechanics. And I'm always a huge fan of like what Artifact's done with the Murakami Air Force Ones, and that's getting traction. So I was following that pretty closely the last couple of weeks, and seeing it now on Sol, I was like, okay, I got to get into the next one as soon as possible. So trying to find those trends and like what I'm a huge NFTs in general because you get deflationary aspects which force price action. So those types of things I'm a huge fan of. Also, just like being hyperactive in Discords and seeing what people are interested in plays into a lot of it. And even if you're not crazy typing and hyperactive responding, just listening to the ecosystem. So like kind of trying to figure out where that trend's going. But it's like some projects I'm kind of excited for. Like Critters Cult is one I'm extremely, extremely excited for. I don't have any whitelist allocation. I don't have any Soul Sunsets, none of it. But I'm so excited for that because their storytelling is sick. Like it gives me these Stranger Things vibes. And I'm a huge, huge fan of 10KTF and what Goblin Town did. That I think we're lacking this storytelling narrative in Solana. And the first project that does it right is just going to explode.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I could not agree more. This is why I hold a bot head, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and plug them right now because,
I love bot heads.
Dude, it's so easy to grab. Dude, I got pinged. I missed the bot head one. I got pinged in remnants actually from the whitelist, the alpha person over there, and who actually just joined Cyber Samurai last night. So, yep, just love to see it.
Welcome.
Yeah, no, it was so easy, dude. I love bot heads mechanics where it links to Discord. Literally, all I had to do was log into Discord, and boom, I had whitelist. Like it was.
Shout out Nate Geo, bro.
I know. I love Nate Geo. I know.
Wait,
dude,
can you give me the lowdown real quick? Do you care, Bison? Because I don't even. So it's a whitelist allocation service infrastructure.
So ran by 3 people. Nate Geo is the artist. Nate Geo is seriously, I love Beings so much. You will talk to so many 101 artists who are like, dude, Beings is like the best PFP collection in the 101 space. I know Soulboy, who is one half of Low Fronts, rocks it. I know Eto, which is the other half, rocks it. Dude, so many people love Being. I am right there with them. But Colborn is a crack dev. They actually onboarded another dev working on the whitelist management tool for both projects and people. So it's very easy to jump into a whitelist. And then Papa Mumu is the last one. He's a goat, dude. He curates the big brain gallery stuff. So he has some of the best one-on-one alpha. That alone right there, like if it could be like a ABC drawing. And if I got Papa Mumu's one-on-one alpha, like that alone is fantastic for me. But the art's great. And the whitelist management, dude, we get
stake it for a token that allows you to interact, or you just get whitelist based off of holding.
They did talk about that they're possibly going to allow you to stake your bot head in order to get rev share from using the tools. They have teased that.
So I love that they're not giving you a shit token. They're just like, yo, you hold a bot, you can get allocations to these cool whitelists, and then you have rev share. And with dope art, like, come on, man, it's crisp and clean,
bro.
What'd you say, Easy? Sorry, you rugged there for a second.
I hate staking, bro. Like, it drives me crazy. I never stake ever. Dude, I just lose it. I forget where they are.
Hey, forget about it.
I found like on Crack the other day in one of my wallets and was like, when did I even buy this? And I think I got it for like 6 SOL. I was like, where has this been?
That's why we love Cyber Samurai, dude. I cannot say it enough. Like, that staking platform is so much better than anything, literally anything. Like, if it's like that, but sure, and implement staking. If it's not, dude, I've written like 3 threads basically saying the same thing, where if it's a hard staking mechanic, I forget about that project so easy. If it's not top of mind, you're not building brand. That's not good for the project. Like, for the longevity of the project, you forget about it. I can't tell you how many I have staked that I probably forgot about. Fearless Bulls Club. Let's talk about Bobos of War. I think I have something locked up.
I probably do too.
I know, bro. I have like 10 of those bitches, dude.
Yo,
like,
same. I know we were on the same wave back then, bro. Yeah, I know we did. We love the sub twos.
Oh god, it was. But it's just like, dude, it's such a pain. Liberty Square. I will tell them right now. And they know it too. Their staking mechanism is god awful. They had to send me another like Cardinal site, like that was off their actual Liberty Square site.
Yo, they need to hit up Cyber Samurai for that staking website, dog.
We need
to. People are sleeping. Utes needs to, bro. Let me stop.
Okay, Bears needs to.
Yeah, I know. We said it all, but no. Real quick before we get into ours, Easy. I know you have to run, so I want to sign you off real quick here. Just take 5 minutes, dude. One, we greatly appreciate your time. This has been so much fun. I know we can go on for another hour easily.
Bro, 100%. I will pull up anytime you guys want me. I love these types of conversations. Like, anytime you guys want to guest, I'm happy to participate. I know, Bison, I'm sorry again. It was a hassle to get me on. I was moving, settling in.
Twitter
anytime you
never
need
a
me,
good time.
I'm here. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, no, dude, I will let you. We love having reoccurring guests. I already told Light he's definitely coming back again. Easy. Bro. I know I love Light so much. We will definitely get you back on for sure. Yep. I do want to have more of these like reoccurring guests. We do respect your time, and we'll definitely try to do something like maybe once a quarter at least, where you just come on and like we'll shoot the market talk. So dude, I appreciate it. Do you want to plug anything before we log off? I know you're working on Bodega Buddies and everything like that. Go ahead and talk to them about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're launching Bodega Buddies here, hopefully the next 30, 45 days, give or take. Still figuring out timelines on that. Want to make sure once it's completely ready to go, we give the date. We don't want any delay, mishaps, etc. With that too, for Nifty, there will be collaborations between the ETH side of things and the Sol side, so it's going to be kind of a cross-chain dynamic. Like I said, I love hyperdeflationary aspects, so that's a little bit of pseudo alpha mixed in there. Got some plans for that, and there's a reason we partnered with Mercantile. So some things to kind of consider on all that. That's 10,000-foot view. At the core of it, education, content, and sharing a lot of that. Working with a couple mobile agencies to create some things for some cell phone access down the line. So excited for it all. Once again, man, thanks for having me. Anytime, I'm always happy and eager to dive in. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Easy.
By, man.
Thank you,
we'll
brother.
talk to you later, Easy.
Literally the best outro pit. Oh my goodness, go ahead, man. Drop your crown, bro. Just keep it pushing. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you later.
See you, boss. For the rest of us, while we are on here, let's talk about what we are looking at right now before we sign off, dude. An hour and 20 minutes. We are in uncharted territory, but let's go with you first, Joe. What are you kind of looking at right now as far as the market goes? And we'll keep it to NFT and SPLs right now. We'll just keep it for brevity's sake.
So Yeah, so actually, it's funny that I think the play right now is not to chase anything too crazy, and if you want to make some plays, I think the SPL, right? Like Bison says all the time, there is liquid, and if you want to make some plays, SPL tokens are great because you can go and trade them whenever you want. There is no waiting, right? And I still think, right, people are sleeping on Scrap. We had the initial pump, it came down, took profits. There's a double whammy with Scrap, right? You have it with pilots, obviously, but it's going to fund one of one the graphite. And like those banged it back to back, I think are going to have some real catalysts for Scrap. So yeah, I think I'm looking at SPL tokens right now. If I was someone in the market with like 7 to 10 SOL and wanted to play around, I think SPL tokens would be a not safer bet, but a more liquid bet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Dor3ann, I let's go over to you. What are you looking at right now?
Yo, I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm going to say, but Cyber Samurai again.
Yes,
like, I just can't tell
know.
you guys enough. It's like how bullish I am. Look at me. I'm the community manager. So if I'm telling you it's bullish, I probably know something that would make it be so bullish. It's like we saw this thing. We saw Sush pump from like 0.2 to like, what, 2.5 in a week? I'm telling you, quick piece alpha, you need 6 Sush. That's it, man. Get 6 Sush, but more importantly, get a Cyber Samurai. Everything we do in the future will be given back to Cyber Samurai holders. Shake's talking to some super notable people in the space. I'm telling you guys, pick up a Cyber Samurai, pick up some Sush. You ain't going to regret it. Joe's already profited from it.
Yeah. That's, you know what? I think I skewed my 10 or 12 at like 0.6. When Dor3ann called it, I didn't immediately. I didn't wait. I tried to front run him. I was like, oh, man, he didn't. He's like, yeah, by the way, he slipped it in there too, Bison. He's like, by the way, just bought 10 SOL worth of Sush. I said, oh, really? I said, I wish right there.
Oh man, you're not gonna front run him, bro. He's got way better access to information over there. So
to make everybody feel comfortable, I'm not selling any of it. I've been holding for a while. It's like I'm still gonna be holding. So
yeah, you're a stand-up brother.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Anything else, Dor3ann, that you're looking at right now?
Joe hit on Scrap. That was my other one. It's like I'm just DCAing in while it's at $1. It seems like good support down at that level, and even if it drops a bit below, I'm still going to be DCAing. And then, but it's like because Pilots is coming up, I think you can do at least 2x from this point because everybody will FOMO last minute. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely in take profit mode and maybe rotate. Dude, I want to Gen 2. I'm gonna call him Gen 2. I want to call him the I word, but I'm not gonna say that on stream anymore because that just sounds somebody's gonna clip that in the wrong way, dude. So
YouTube's gonna block you, dog.
I know. I need to.
I think you can get 45 sub.
Yeah, that's
45 or sub 45.
That's kind of what I'm waiting for is like a little bit more of a pullback because I don't think it's been priced in completely yet, but I do need to get in before graphite happens for sure. So that's probably gonna be why I look at. I'm taking profits on stuff. Still think Bubble Goose is just like, dude. That's a medium term hold though, guys. Like I'm not expecting a short. If you have, say what?
Yeah. Or what floor price are they at right now? You know,
5.3, bro. 5.3.
Really?
That is criminal.
Only 839 listed. Wow.
Yeah.
And the average sale is at almost 8 SOL. I gotta look at see
there. You will see a ton of above floor buys, and again, that's just another metric that I look at where if you see a disparity between your average sales, a good at glance, but if you go on to Hello Moon, you can actually see some of the bigger buys. You can see it on Soul Sniper and Hyperspace as well. So, but yeah, if you see a disparity between floor price and like the average sale price, it's usually pretty bullish. I would also like, if I'm buying 2 in that collection, I will actually go shop a rare or maybe even like set a price range and just find what the most appealing rare is, or if there is any alpha, like in Bubble Goose, Big Smokes go for a lot, even though it's a common trait. Like that Dow is going off right now, and they've actually gotten some cool airdrops from Carl himself. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm just looking for undervalued plays. If I see anything, if I'm going for a blue chip, quote unquote, it's going to be access to Taiyo ecosystem through Gen 2, maybe even some oil. But I think right now, if you buy a floor, is that correct, Joe? If you buy a floor, then you get a pilot whitelist.
So not for infants, you'd have to buy 3, would give you 2 pilot whitelists or 1 Gen 1. Yeah, so I think it's only if you buy 3. But dude, this is what people got to realize. Tom, if you hit up Tom, literally, right? You go in Discord and you hit Tom and be like, yo, I'm trying to do this or that. He'll work something out with you. He wants people that are in the space. He wants people in and learning the ecosystem. So I'm serious. Don't ever be like, yo, reach out to him and you never know. He might go, you know what? Yeah. And you get a whitelist. So like you never know. He's a really good guy. And that's one of the best things about the project is, right? He's approachable. He's there. He's not some mystic figure out in the open.
Yeah, it's so funny watching people like bullish on founders, but when it comes to the team growing aspect, people like don't price that in. It's just one of those things where you have more personnel, like you see them leveraging out, so they get to do the tasks that they're best at, the most dollar productive task. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, when I see teams growing, and I know Soulport has probably one of the biggest teams in Seoul. I think they're at like 25 plus or something employees under the whole Soulport Taiyo Solstead's ecosystem. So I'll let Dor3ann correct me if I'm wrong, but
yeah, you're good, man. I don't know their exact employee count, but it's huge.
yeah, I'm always going to show remnants. Still think remnants under 10 souls FUD. Rem's been on a nice little run. They've just kind of plateaued around that 6-7 range. I still think that is very cheap, especially considering like they only have 1.5% of supply listed. So just a little bit of alpha there. That a supply shock could happen very quick. I know we talk about it a lot in Soul, and it's kind of a meme, but supply shock is a very real thing. Other than that, I'm holding Liberty Square. I already took profit on those, so I'm just holding the two that I have, and I think I'm just gonna like ride those out because I love what Liberty Square is doing. Instead of like trying to sell them. Yeah, I do have Lotus Gang. We already talked about that earlier. I think I am looking to sell right now and just take some profit.
Man, seems good to me.
Yeah.
I think that's smart.
That's about it. I did post on Twitter, so if you guys don't follow us, please do. At RareFUD Radio, at BisonTrades, at Dor3ann_W, and that is Dor3ann with a 3, at JoeSoul212. And make sure you follow us because we do post our most up-to-date thoughts there. And for anybody listening on the podcast, make sure you subscribe on YouTube too. It does help grow the channel tremendously. And I think that's about it. Guys, do you have any other closing thoughts?
I have one question for both of you.
Yeah.
Question. Delusion or success?
Oh man, I like delusion, man.
Delusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Delusion.
That's all I needed to know.
Oh,
all right, there it is.
Yeah. Well, we getting another on-air Cyber Sam purchase right there. But anyways, yeah, once you buy one, I'm telling you, we've seen it like
crack, man.
Yeah, it is literally like crack. So seriously, thank everybody for tuning in. This was a way longer episode than we anticipated, but when you're talking to Easy Eats, you got to pick that man's brain. He just fits in so well with, kind of what we're trying to accomplish here on RareFUD Radio, which is providing you with sound analysis, giving you level-headed thoughts, and showing you alpha and how to kind of front run the market. So thank you guys so much. We hope that you continue to grow within the Solana ecosystem. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're listening on those platforms, make sure you drop us a follow and subscribe. You have those little ad buttons in the top right. And we will continue growing the platform. And I appreciate everybody for listening. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you on the next episode of RareFUD.